Welcome to Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Dr. RC will empower, encourage, and strengthen you. She will help you to soar to your highest potential while instilling hope. Please welcome the host of Dare to Soar, Dr. RC.
Good Saturday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, it is 2026. This morning's show, New Wings, New Altitude, No Apologies. That is the title. But before we jump in, I want to impart some wisdom, if you will. I know that oftentimes we go into New Year's resolutions, but I want to have a different take. And it is intentional that I'm bringing a solo show for my first kickoff show for 2026. Before we talk about goals, before we talk about growth, before we talk about what's next, I want to begin with honor, if you will. Yes, honor. Honor for the year we just survived. And yes, we just survived it. Honor for the strength it took to keep showing up. And yes, we kept showing up. Honor for the parts of you that just felt tired or stretched or uncertain and kept going anyway. And I want you to give yourselves a hand clap or a pat on the back for doing that. And with that being said, welcome to Dare to Soar. This is not a space for rushing, proving, or even performing. This is a space for becoming. If you're listening while driving or just sitting, resting, or simply trying to catch your breath, this moment is for you. Nothing is required or expected, just your presence. And before I go any further, let's pause together. Yes, I said let's pause together. I want you to just listen to my voice wherever you are. Allow your shoulders to just soften. Unclench your jaw. Let's just breathe slow, just for a moment. It feels safe. Take a deep breath in through your nose just for a few moments and hold it there. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing the weight of last year, and last year being 2025. Again, inhale peace, exhale pressure. One more time, inhale peace, exhale pressure. Breathe in clarity, breathe out expectation. As you breathe silently, say it to yourself. I am here. I am enough. I'm allowed to begin again. Let that truth settle in your body. When you're ready, gently return your attention to this space. Grounded, open, and ready. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for participating in that moment with me, giving yourself that moment. This is how we're going to enter 2026. We're going to enter 26 not rushed, not reactive, not depleted, but rooted. Today is about new things, new attitudes, and releasing the need to apologize for who you're not to apologize for who you're becoming. Now let's soar together. Once again, I am Dr. RC, and yes, you are listening to Dare to Soar. Oh, new wings, new attitude, no apologies, none, absolutely none. 2025 is gone. We're done with that. We're moving on to 2026, and that's where we are. We're going to reset, leaving survival mode behind us. We're expanding. And I want to give you a key message as we start off. You see, you were meant to simply survive another year. while knuckling your way through responsibilities, expectations, and exhaustion. You were meant to soar. See how I use that? You were meant to soar. Survival mode may keep you alive, functional, and showing up because you're here, you're present, but it was never meant for your permanent address. It is a response to pressure, uncertainty, and overwhelm. In this, and while it served a purpose, it was not where your future lies because we're evolving. This segment invites each of you as listeners to pause and recognize that making it through was an achievement. Give yourselves a hand clap, a pat on the back. And if you can't do it for yourselves, I'm going to give it to you right now. And I'm going to pat myself on the back, but actually that pat is for you. You're not remaining and stuck. You're surviving. You're setting new goals for yourself. And I'm going to speak that into existence for you. I'm going to help you guide into reflection as well. I'd like to invite each of you to consider this. There were moments where in last year when you felt that you did not have the energy to dream, you just focused on getting through. You did. We all did. We felt like, who am I going to make it through the day? Am I going to make it through the moment? But you did. You survived it. You made it. And that moment was just for you because you saw another day. You pushed through. I want you to hear me and hear this clearly. That does not mean that it was not intentional, because it was. It means that you were able to adapt. Survival required strength, and you had that strength to do so. Survival requires intention. I want to give you some practical tips while I'm speaking these things for you. Here are some tips. Name what you are no longer carrying, or what you're no longer going to carry into 2026. I want you to name it. And by naming this, I want you to be encouraged by these things. As you're being encouraged, I want you to name at least one thing that you're releasing. Think about it for a moment. Reflect on it. Unrealistic expectations. That's one thing. And you can utilize these, but think about your own as well. The need to be for everything for everyone. Whew, that's a heavy one. I know it is, because sometimes we do feel like we need to be everything for everyone. We feel like every task we have to take on, but it's not necessary. Guilt choosing rest. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing rest. We have to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of anyone else. And let go of old narratives about work. I want you to remind yourselves, you cannot rise while gripping the weight of others. You cannot. You cannot rise while gripping the weight of others. You cannot. I want you to remember that and remind yourselves of that as well. I want you to release that guilt. Attach that. Rest. Get your healing and change. Speak directly to help and high achievement. Rest is not quitting. Hear me clearly, guys. Rest is not quitting. Healing is not a weakness. It is not. Change is not failure. Do I need to say that to you again? Rest is not quitting. Healing is not a weakness. And change is certainly not a failure. Now, how do you channel that? Challenge is the belief that exhaustion, it equals dedication. I want you to affirm some things also. Affirm that choosing rest is an act of wisdom, not selfishness. It's not selfishness. Understand that, because sometimes you have to be selfish to yourself to gain the strength that you need to be able to move forward. Do I need to say that to you again? I want you to challenge this belief that exhaustion equals dedication. And it does. You have to be dedicated. Affirm that choosing rest is an act of wisdom and it's not selfish. I want you to write these things down because you'll be able to go back later on and reflect on these things. Or you can go back and listen to the recording of the show also. Here we go with some other tips. I would like for you to honor the version of you that made it through. Honor that version of you. Acknowledge the past version of yourself because it's called reflection. When you look at your past, you know, check, not going to do that anymore. We're not, because that was the 2025 me. I'm moving on to the 2026 me. Acknowledge the past version of yourself because how can you move on and push it further to better yourself? And we always want to have a better version of ourselves. That's what we do. The one who showed up when it was hard. That's what we're reflecting on. The one who held things together through or in silence. Or the one who kept going, who kept moving. Like my aunt always says, we got to keep moving forward. No, you've heard that before. Even without clarity. But we kept moving forward until clarity became clear. This is not about dwelling in the past. It's about closing that chapter with compassion instead of criticism. And you take notes on these things because that's how we get clarity. When we take notes and go back and reflect on it. We want to be interactive listeners in the moment also. And we do this by, if survival mode had a voice, what would it say? What would it look like? What would it protect us from? And what would it say in those gentle, reflective moments? Would it say, it's time to release? Would it tell us thank you? Would it say those things to us? And what would that thank you look like? Think about that for a moment. What would those times of reflection look like? Get a little notepad or just get a piece of paper and write that down. When we're in survival mode, what would that survival voice look like? What would it say to us? What would it protect us from? Because sometimes when we're in the rush of things, when we have that time to sit back and reflect, what would that look like? So here's something for you, a little teaser, if you will. I want to give you an affirmation. Listen to this. Here's one. Honor yourself. I honor who I've been and give myself permission to evolve. Because when you're thinking about the thank yous in your survival mode, you want to honor yourself because you made it through. You made it through. Remember, 2025 is gone. We're on to 2026. You want to honor that. You want to honor who you've been. And you give yourself permission to evolve because you have evolved. I want to give you permission to share that affirmation to yourself, to say that affirmation to yourself. I honor who I've been and I give myself permission to evolve. I want to encourage you to say this affirmation to yourself whenever you feel the need. Or if you like, you can think of your own affirmation. This affirmation you can use whenever you feel the need. These are words of encouragement. Affirmations are always great because they encourage and they empower you as well. When you feel tempted or you feel overwhelmed, you can share an affirmation with yourself. Put it up on a little sticky pad somewhere where you know that you will look at it each and every day. And you can put that same affirmation in several places. You can put it in your car, on your mirror, in your house, in your bathroom, on your refrigerator. Places that you know that you'll see it all the time. When you feel like you're in rush mode, you can say that to yourself. Now, we've talked about honoring yourself and where you've been. It's time to talk about what comes next. So what does come next? because survival may have brought us here or brought you here, but the purpose is to carry you forward. And I want to hold right there. So I wanted you to think about that, where you've been, where you've come from. How do we move forward? How do we carry ourselves forward? It's time for a commercial break. I'll be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back once again. Yes, this is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC. Right before the break, I was sharing with you how do we move forward? New wings, new altitude, no apologies. This is the welcome to 2026. I want to go into this by sharing this. This is going to talk about reclaiming your power without permission. And that's how I want to dive into this about moving forward, the next steps. So, with that being said, how do we do that? How do we accomplish that? Uplifting, motivating, encouraging. How do we move forward? This is with intention. Your power was never lost. It wasn't. It might have kind of drifted or lied dormant. We've had highs and lows. That's a natural response of life. That is how the highs and lows go in life. It was waiting for your consent. It was waiting for your consent. You know, oftentimes many people believe power is something that you can that or can be taken. But what's often taken is your confidence or your voice or your visibility, if you will. Power often remains intact when we stop deferring to others to tell us what to do. It does, or we're allowed to be. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Confidence, voice, or visibility. When I go into this segment of the show, it's about recognizing the quiet ways we've been taught to shrink ourselves or consciously choosing just to step back into ourselves, because that can happen also when life happens within us without asking permission from people or systems or spaces, or were never designed to affirm us. And that happens. So here's a truth moment. Think about this. I want to say this to you, and I pause because I want you to hear me clearly when I'm saying this. Some of us were taught to wait to be invited, to wait to be affirmed, or just to wait for approval. Let me say that to you again. To wait to be invited, to wait to be affirmed, or just to wait for approval. But oftentimes, waiting too long can look like self abandonment. Would you agree? And I'm shaking my head for you. Power returns when we stop asking, is it okay? And if we don't say it verbally out loud, we're thinking it to ourselves. Whether you're sitting in a room full of people or in a small group, or you may be on a virtual call or a virtual meeting, is it okay? You're trying to reaffirm to yourself or confirm to yourself, is it okay? You may want to ask a question and thinking, is it okay? Let's start asking the question. Start asking, is this aligned? Yes. Practical power tips. So stop asking for validation from spaces that benefit from your silence. You have input. You have something to say. Who benefits from you staying quiet? No one. Where have I been dimming myself? Ask yourself this. To keep quiet, I'm dimming my light, myself to keep peace. I want to remind you of this. Validation seeking can become a habit, and it can become. But habits can be changed. Habits can be changed. Your voice is not disruptive. Your voice is necessary. In the field that I work in, advocacy is critical because as a social worker, I advocate constantly, consistently, all the time. But oftentimes in doing this work, I have to remind myself that yes, Dr. RC, you advocate for individuals all the time. But you have to remember to advocate that advocacy is just as important for yourself as well. And doing this work, if you're not voicing at the same level for yourself as you do others, then what are you standing for? Because if you're not doing that same dance, then you're sitting down for everything. That was just something I wanted to throw in there. So I'm saying that for you also, because it's key, it's critical. When you dance, use those same steps that you're utilizing for everyone else, use them for yourself. And sometimes it's not a bad thing to make up a new dance because it's going to be beneficial as well. And I want you to remind yourself of that. So start creating your own steps and make those steps count. Make them meaningful. Set one boundary that protects your peace because your peace is important. I want you to be encouraged. This year, you don't need 10 boundaries. You need one intentional boundary. Well, Dr. RC, what's an example? I'm so glad that you're thinking that. I can see the question marks. Not responding immediately to urgent demands. Think about it, process it. It's good to think about things before you respond immediately because you want to respond with clarity and saying no without explanation. Protecting personal time without guilt. Peace is not passive, it is protected. And it is. Peace is not passive, it is protective. Remember that. Choose alignment over approval. Approval is external, not unstable. Think about these things. Aligning is internal and grounding. When you choose alignment, you sleep better, you rest better, and it's nothing better than a good night's sleep. You guess less. When you're processing, all of those little neurons are firing off better. You stand firmer. You do. Grounded. Align asks, does this honor who I'm becoming? Will they still like me? Or is it that I'll like myself better? Only one leads to freedom. And that's what you want. And you guys know, I love affirmations. I do. But sometimes you have to slow the pace down because when we respond quickly, we're not responding with clarity. And when we respond with clarity, we want individuals to understand our stance and where we're coming from. We want to deliver with purpose. We want to deliver with purpose. So here's an affirmation. I reclaim my power by choosing myself consistently and without apology. I reclaim my power by choosing myself consistently and without apology. I want to just encourage all of you to take notice how you feel inside when you say that out loud. You feel grounded, you feel steady, and you feel clear. You see, when you stop asking for permission, you just you don't become reckless, you become rooted. You become rooted in what you're delivering. And that is important. It's time for a commercial break. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. Yeah, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back once again. This is Dare to Soar with Dr. RC. Oh, new wings, new altitude. No apologies needed. We are in 2026. Oh, and I'm feeling good. Songs are popping in my head as I'm thinking about this. I am ready. I hope that all of you are as well as we enter 2026. This segment is about uplifting, no apologies, new attitude, new wings. See, I flipped that all around and giving you information. Intentional solo. I just wanted to impart some words of encouragement, some uplifting energy as we go into 2026. So as I continue on, so the new wings require new thinking, new mindset. Old mindsets are gone. We're moving on to a new year. We cannot carry that into 2026. Old mindsets cannot carry you to a new altitude. They cannot. We can reflect on them and we can learn from them, but we're moving on. You cannot rise while you're thinking the same thoughts that were formed in survival, scarcity, or self-protection. New wings demand new ways of thinking, seeing and speaking to yourself. And that's what we want to do. We want to leave it all behind us because, yes, 2025 gave us learning lessons. They stretched us and we learned from those things. You see, growth is not about what you do. Do is about doing those things we've done before. We learn from them. Don't get me wrong. We have learned from them. We've learned many lessons and we take those lessons with us. We expand our growth patterns from them. And that's what you're supposed to do. What you do is You believe in what the possibilities are and what you can achieve. We reframe our thinking when we do that. We replace I should with I choose. That's what we do. We explain the difference clearly. I should often comes from pressure, guilt, or outside expectations. I choose comes from agency and clarity or self trust. We're learning from each and every step we make. I want to invite you just to notice how your body responds to each phrase. And here are a couple of phrases that I've kind of written down and thought of. I should stay because it's familiar. Should you? I choose to stay because it aligns. Or I choose to leave because I've outgrown this season. Choice restores power. Words matter. And we have to be careful our words. I'm always thinking that we try to surround ourselves with positive energy. And the words that we release from our mouths, they matter as well. Because those sometimes words can bring you up or they can pull you down. And we have to be careful of how we release what comes from us. It's about letting go of the guilt that we've had. Release the fear. It's outgoing people, roles, and expectations as well. Normalizing the truth. Outgoing does not mean that you are unregretful. It means that you are growing, and it's all about growth. There's a saying that goes, when you know better, you do better. And that is true. When you know better, you do better. And that's what it's all about. We have life lessons that we learn from each and every day. The circles we travel in, the people we surround ourselves, they are learning lessons. There are growth lessons that we learn from. And that's key. That's important. We have to remind ourselves that some connections were meant for a chapter, not a whole book. Oh, that was pretty powerful. Let me say it again. We have to remind ourselves that some connections were meant for a chapter and not a whole book. Some roles fit who we were, not who we're becoming. Some expectations were not yours to carry. You see, you can love people deeply and still choose differently. And that's just a fact of life. Oftentimes, there's a saying that individuals or groups were there for a season. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay that they were there for a season. We never know how things are supposed to turn out, and that's okay. So when we look at it, we have to still keep going forward with understanding and clarity. But that doesn't mean that life lessons stop and we don't stop progressing and moving forward either. So when we look at mindsets, we know that practice daily thoughts, what feeds us versus what drains us. And that is real. That is key. What sustains us. Because at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what thought gave me energy today? And that's something you can journal about also. What thought gave me energy today? Because you want something that's going to give you energy. And then you have to think on the other side of that also, because we live our lives each and every day. What thought depleted me today? And then how do we proceed with both? You can draw a line straight down the paper, or you can use 2 sheets of paper. What thought gave me energy today? Question mark. What thought depleted me today? And you be honest with yourselves about it. And then put this caveat in it. I would like to encourage each of you to replace draining thoughts with grounding truths. So how do you look at this? Let me give you an example. Draining. I'm behind. And reframe it. I'm moving at the pace my life requires. Small shifts, repeated daily, creating lasting change. And then you can create this by journaling this information and then reflecting back on it later. And as you reflect back on it later, here's your growth of understanding. You can look at that. What gave you energy? What depleted you? And those are your reflective moments as you do this work. And this is work within yourself. It's time for another commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back once again, and good Saturday morning. I hope that each and every one of you are enjoying a wonderful, wonderful Saturday morning. New wings, new altitude, no apologies. Yes, this is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC. Right before the break, I shared with you what gave or gives you energy and what depletes. I shared with you about drawing a line or taking 2 sheets of paper and writing it down, having reflective moments, going back and reviewing it, reading it for later on. And you can do it daily, or you can just do it a little bit at a time. Each time something comes to mind, or you take note of something you noticed that happened to you during that time as well while you're doing this. It's a good way to keep track, because something may happen during the day. It may happen once a day, or it may happen several times a day, that you took note that something just kind of drained you, or something just gave you so much energy you felt like you could conquer the world. And it's just a good way to keep up. And you know that, hey, if that something just set a fire up under you and it kept you going, you want to repeat that action or take it up a level as well. Or if it's something that drains you, say, whoo, I don't want to go back that again. I have to be cautious and careful. And then you know those are telltale signs that you say, nope, not going to go back there again. But with that being said, if those things have put a fire under you and have given you some good energy, you want to keep it going. So with that being said, here's an affirmation for you to look forward to. You want to say this to yourself: I give myself permission to think bigger than my past. Use that or think of your own. I give myself permission to think bigger than my past. The past is gone. You're moving forward to 2026. These are just some little things that I put together. You can write your own affirmations. I love affirmations. As I shared earlier, you can put them around your home in particular places. You know, some place that you're going to look at each and every day, spaces in your house that you're going to see all the time. And those are good places to put them. Your past may inform you, but it does not define your calling. Remember that. Your past may inform you, but it does not define your calling. It does not. It does not. So when you think about that, hey, you're moving forward. You're going higher. You're on to the next level. Now that you're thinking is shifting, let's talk about truly sustaining your flight, because peace is the new success. Woo, and peace is important. Your peace is the success that you need. Success does not cost your mental wellness. It's simply too expensive. It is. Your mental wellness, it's no price on that. It is expensive because for far too long, for too many of us, it's been taught that success requires constant motion. It is overextension and sacrifice of ourselves. It is. But when achieved, it leaves you exhausted, disconnected, or depleted. It's a time for pause, for reassessment. Peace is not a reward you earn after burnout. It is a requirement of sustainability. Our peace, it is so, so important. So when we talk about our peace, we have to redefine it, success, and on our own terms. You see, success does not have or does not look like anyone else's journey. It's our own. I want to just encourage you on that and remind you, does my definition of success allow room for joy? Think about that. Does it protect my health, my values, and relationship? These are some things I want you to ask yourself. Does it reflect who I am now, not who I'm trying to prove myself to? Now, remember, success rooted is aligned and it feels expensive, not exhausting. You have to build yourself up to these things. But these are just a few questions that I wanted to put out there. Does it define of success allow room for joy? Going back over that. Does it protect my health, my values, and relationships? Does it reflect who I am right now? Ask yourself that. Does it reflect who I am right now? We're talking about your peace now. Your peace is important. I want you to think about that. These are just some tips to think about. And then as you build on that, I want you to build that into your schedule, your margin of peace that allows you to breathe, to think, and to recover. I want you to think about that. Stop over here. And here is another tip. If you're over scheduling yourself, can you really and truly have peace? Can you really and truly achieve your peace like you really want to? So, and if you can't, I want to invite you to this. Stop over scheduling every moment. If you have something in every second, every moment of the day, then you truly can't have peace. You don't have a peaceful moment. You should at least have just a few moments in the day where you can just self-reflect and breathe. Have a breathing moment. Leave space in between commitments, if at all possible. And I'm truly, truly hoping that's possible. Treat yourself as a priority because you are. You are. You're not an afterthought. You are the priority. Margin is not wasted time. It's essential space that supports clarity, creativity, and resilience because you are the key element. You are the key element. Protect your energy like it's a sacred piece because you are sacred, because it's your energy. You are the most valuable resource. You truly, truly are. I want you to take note that about what activities or people replenish you. What replenishes you? And then what consistently drains you? Just like I said a little earlier, but in a different way. Because you see, protecting your energy does not mean you care less. It means you're choosing sustainability over depletion. And it truly does. You are. You're protecting yourself from these things. It's all about that. You see, Your peace is productive. Your rest is necessary. Your wellness matters. Your peace is productive. Your rest is necessary. And your wellness truly, truly matters. I want you to think about that. It's time for another commercial break. I'll be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant. Like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Welcome back once again. This is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC. Oh gosh, this has been an enlightening, and I'm truly hoping that each and every one of you tuned in has obtained information that you can use, tips that you can use, affirmations that you can use, or affirmations that you can change and write for yourselves. As I'm preparing to wrap up the show, I want to go back to what I gave you about protecting your peace. But I want to encourage you to carry this with you as well. I want to encourage you to know that your peace is not passive. Your peace is truly, truly powerful. But as we move forward, remember this. When peace becomes your measure of success, everything else begins to align. We often talk about our peace and how powerful it is, but it is so, so important, because if you don't have your peace and your resolve, it truly does not, you don't have the ability to anchor yourself. Your thought process is off. You don't feel that you have the flexibility, the sustainability that you need. Your peace gives you the resolution that you need. It gives you the anchor that you need. When you're able to do that, you know that you're allowed to take up the space that you need. You don't have to shrink in spaces to feel uncomfortable, because your thought process is on target. You can trust yourself to rise when you need to rise, even when you feel like the path is unclear, because you're more settled. You want to be able to soar in spaces that you feel strength and confidence. And that is your strength that you need to give yourself that confidence and be enough, if you will. As we prepare to close out our show today, I want to let you know that your peace is an unforgettable measure. As you step into 2026, remember this. You don't need new wings because they were broken, because they were not broken. You need new wings because you've grown. and you have. Let this be the year that you stop negotiating your worth. Let me say that again. Let this be the year that you stop negotiating your worth. This year, your rest without guilt. This year, rise without permission. If no one has told you yet, you are ready. You are capable. And the sky was never the limit. Until next time, guys, keep daring to soar higher, freer, and unapologetically whole. Never be afraid to elevate to new heights as you spread your wings and dare to soar. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. New wings, new altitude, no apologies. This is Dr. RC, and yes, this is Dare to Soar.
This has been Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Come take a ride and soar to your highest level possible each week on Dr. RC's Dare to Soar.